What if you could get through the entire holiday season, even with politically opposite relatives, without one argument? It's possible, and today I'll show you how. Welcome to the Leadership Career Accelerator, where we help aspiring leaders like you build executive presence, influence with impact, and get recognized and promoted. I am longtime CEO Barry Moline. Today, we're talking about surviving the holidays with a relative from a different political party. It happens inevitably. You show up for a joyful holiday gathering with high hopes for family togetherness and gratitude, and then someone blurts out dreaded words like, "He's a pedophile," "mass deportation," or "healthcare costs are through the roof." Here's how to keep the peace and your sanity when family members hold different political views. First, give each other some grace. Remember, this is your family, and the goal is to enjoy the holidays, not win a debate. You share long-term loving relationships, and everyone ultimately wants the best for each other. Come to the gathering with good intentions for peace and harmony. Next, you can deflect a comment to a happier topic. If politics creeps in, don't take the bait. Redirect the conversation with warmth and humor. You can say, "Hey, let's talk about how great it is to be together for the holidays." A little positivity can steer the tone back to joy. You can change the subject. Pivot to safe, engaging topics: kids, work, school, travel, sports, or life updates. Ask questions like, "How's the family? Any fun trips coming up? What big projects are you working on? How about that football, hockey, basketball game? Did you hear about Ginger's new job?" Focus on what unites you, not what divides you. All right, so far, we've talked about giving each other some grace and patience and changing the subject to something happier. The next idea is very powerful. Be curious. If you find yourself in that dreaded political back and forth, use the newscaster tactic. Ask questions, stay neutral, and focus on facts. You can say, interesting. Is that true? What's your source? Why do you think that? Curiosity diffuses tension and it prevents emotions from escalating. If you know a spirited conversation is coming, prepare yourself and come equipped with facts, not opinions. Opinions invite conflict. Facts invite thought. And if the other person makes a good point, acknowledge it. Say, "Good point, Uncle Jimmy." And if you don't know the facts, that's a good time to pause and say, "I'd feel more comfortable talking another time once we've both looked into this." It's very important to also avoid personal attacks and trigger words. Personal jabs can ruin the day. And be mindful of words that unconsciously bring up old wounds, family trigger topics that reignite emotional history. Maybe it's the bicycle your sibling got that you didn't, or the hike someone couldn't finish years ago. Don't bring those up. If those trigger moments arise, recognize them and then consciously lower the temperature. Let it go before it grows. When it looks like you're at a stalemate, agree to disagree. Sometimes you simply won't agree, and that's okay. Call a truce. You can say, "Wow, there's a lot of passion on all sides." Agree to disagree. Differences in opinion don't have to damage relationships. So we've just talked about how to engage in conversation, gathering with facts, avoiding personal attacks, and agreeing to disagree. Let's talk about one of the pitfalls of heated political discussions. Avoid whatabouts. When someone makes a political point, resist the urge to counter with, "Yeah, but what about when your side did this?" It's a conversational boomerang that shifts the focus from listening to sparring. What about rarely solve anything? They just restart the argument from a different angle. Instead, acknowledge the comment without escalating. You can say something like, I see what you're saying. Then gently move to neutral ground. Sometimes, if I'm engaged in a point and someone says, what about blah, blah, blah? I'll say, good point. Let's finish this topic and then we'll move on to that one. Keeping the conversation focused, you can make your point and then give them the opportunity to make their point. It shows you're listening and it shows your desire to be fair. And speaking of fairness, be respectful. This is your family. Your long term relationship matters far more than winning a short term argument. Disagree respectfully or deflect gracefully. This last idea is a great one for avoiding all disagreements. Set house rules. It might sound lighthearted, but it really works. Post a fun reminder on paper at the door. Something like house rules, no politics, only kind and loving words. A sign like that is a little playful and helps everyone keep things friendly and might even spark a laugh. And then, if the conversation goes off the rails, you can always say, house rules, no politics, only kind and loving words. Wrapping up, what's the one thing you can implement today? I've given you a lot of ideas, but I think the most important action you can take is to be curious. Asking questions shows you're listening. Do your best to stay calm and remember, relationships matter more than winning an argument. Thank you for listening and congratulations! You are a member of the End of the Show Club. If you have any questions or want to get in touch, you can send me a note. The address is leadershipcareeraccelerator@gmail.com. And check out and engage with me on Substack at Leadership Career Accelerator. And finally, have a peaceful holiday season.